Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out on this grotty, dark, wintry night. Lovely. I'm Ateh Jewel. I am a freelance beauty journalist. I've been in the industry for 18 to 19 years. I write for Vogue, Sunday Times Style, Observer, Guardian. I had a column in Marie Claire, Glamour, and lots of places. I also have a production company I run with my husband, who's in the back. Hey, Dan. And I'm developing a makeup line called Ateh Jewel Beauty for darker skin tones. Now, I know Ruby for my entire beauty life.
Can you just check this mic's on?
That should be on. Yeah, that should be on. Thank you. Now, I have known Ruby my entire beauty life. And she has always been the kindest, warmest, most delicious person from when I was 22 and a little punk to 41 now, and she's always been amazing. Now, you may know Ruby from 10 Years Younger. Anyone used to watch 10 Years Younger? From the BBC. Let me read all your achievements.
Young women here, they may not remember.
Ruby's worked at Paris, New York, Milan Fashion Week. She's worked at the Vogue, Elle, Harper's Bazaar, Marie Claire, The Clothes Show, This Morning, Lorraine, Britain's Next Top Model, GMTV, and the thing that always touched my heart, Ruby and Millie. Now, yeah, so in '98, Ruby created Ruby and Millie, and it was one of the first times I walked into Boots and I felt seen. I remember I was in school and I was like, oh my God, there's a color for me and one darker. It was mind-blowing. Ruby is also Homegirls with the Queen, MBE.
Thank you. She's making me blush. It's like really weird.
And has just launched her new capsule collection. So I feel like we're having a coffee and we just have a few more friends. So thank you for joining our tea, our chat.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pretty grim night out there. It has been a pretty grim day all day. So all you girls, girls and boys and people, make the effort. I'm very, very, very appreciative. Thank you.
Oh,
please.
Now, I'm a beauty girl junkie, and there's some beauty girls in the house over here. To put it into context, how amazing Ruby is as a makeup artist. If anyone follows football, she's the Pele of beauty. She is the David Fincher of beauty. She's the RuPaul of beauty. She is the original OG. So, and also one of my beauty heroes. So, Ruby, tell me about your beauty philosophy, because it's quite similar to mine. But when you look at what is beautiful to you and your makeup look, what is your philosophy?
I think my beauty philosophy, Ateh, is people always think it's related to cosmetics. And it's not necessarily just what you outwardly see. I think true beauty is a real reflection. I know it might sound like a cliche, but it really is a reflection of you. Yeah. So it's got nothing to do with colour. It's got nothing to do with age. It's got nothing to do with being blonde or this or that. It really hasn't. And people say, well, that's easy for you to say because all you do is you work with these young models that are thin that. But that's not true. I work with normal women. I work on the red carpet, and all those ladies, thankfully, need some of my skills. Like nobody looks like that first thing in the morning, and sometimes all of us do. It depends if we're eating well, we're sleeping well, there's love in our lives, there's a bit of joy in our lives, we're on holiday. So, to be honest, my philosophy of beauty is not just, oh my God, doesn't she look amazing, and that lipstick looks great, and look at this and look at that. It's part of what I do, but it's not the whole thing. If you have a beautiful smile, if somebody's kind, if somebody laughs, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, exactly. Holistic. It's a 360 approach to beauty. Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Now, what is your first memory of makeup?
I think my first memory of makeup is from my late mum. My mum was a very young mum, so she had me when she was 17. I wasn't born in this country. I was born in Nigeria, in Africa.
I'm Nigerian, half Nigerian too.
And I remember, so this is I was born in 1961, so I don't remember very, very early, but I remember from about, say, age 5 or 6 or something like that, where they had a lot of parties, they had lots of things to do, so my mum would get ready, but my mum would cook as well, so she would prepare the dinners, slaving away, cooking. She didn't have one of those big, there were no ovens, it was big roaring fire. She had to throw things, the log, so she was dripping. And then this woman would finish all that, things cooling down, and she'd disappear, shower, do her hair, and then I probably just stood there watching her, and she'd pin her things. So sometimes there were ringlets, sometimes it was a little short wig because she didn't have time. But she'd sit there, and it was the lashes, it was the makeup, and I'd suddenly watch my mum transformed.
Yeah.
And so that's my first memory of my, oh my God, I adore my mum, but here she is, she's like a movie star. Yeah. Wow.
I think transformation is a big thing for beauty girls.
Yeah.
It's magic. It's
Totally.
magical that what you can express yourself and transform, and I think that's what I find magical.
And it
about
wasn't just the cosmetics, it was the hair, it was her outfit, it was how she smelt. And then she didn't keep you at arm's length, but she would be like, she'd give you a hug, but she wouldn't necessarily kiss you because it would ruin her lipstick. That kind of, so I have those memories of her.
Amazing. I mean, we are from very similar backgrounds. My dad said to me, being Nigerian, "You're creative, Ateh, so you should be a lawyer." How did you get away with becoming a makeup artist? And at what point did you feel or know this was going to be your career versus a hobby? And did you have those pressures at home to, be creative, be a lawyer instead of a doctor? Did you have that pressure at home?
The weirdest thing is, I am very lucky as an Asian person, and I'm not being racist and I'm not being funny, but there is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's
and
different.
There's also pressure. We came to this country when I was 12 years old, so we are immigrants, and there is a underlying pressure that we have to succeed. You don't want to sponge off the country that's taken you in. And I always thought I was going to be a doctor, like my father. And, like he'd walk ahead and I'd be behind him with my arms behind my back. And it would be Ahmed and Ahmed. That's my maiden name. And when I got to the age of 14 or 15, when you do your O-levels, I don't know what they're called now, GCSEs or whatever they are, but O-levels. And the only science subject I liked was biology. Physics and chemistry, I just look at him, sir, and he goes, "Ruby, you're so bright. What the hell is wrong with this paper?" And I'm like, "I don't like it, so I don't understand it.
Yeah.
What do I do?" So my father didn't used to work in London during the week. He used to work away, and he'd come home, and then that Friday I had to sort of muster up the courage, and I said, "Dad, I don't think we've got to pick our subjects now because, the curriculum and then blah, blah, blah." And I said, "I don't think I can do this. And if I can't do it at O-level, how am I going to do A-level? How am I going to go into medicine?" And they were not pushy parents like that. They wanted you to succeed in whatever area you so chose. So I then went into social sciences, so it was all economics and history and all those kind of subjects. And I'm an economics graduate. I went to City University, I've got my graduate, and up until then it was always a passion. Loved it. But never knew you could make a living from it. Never, ever. My whole walls were covered with all the models of that time. So all the Janice Dickinsons, Iman, Beverly Johnson, anybody that was a role model for me. Yeah. But then on the other side was all the sort of blonder American, the Kim Alexis,
all the healthy,
Christy Brinkley, all that. Those were on
jogging
the other
in
side.
The surf. Yeah.
And I always used to check the credit, like who the photographer was, who's the model. And there was Way Brandy, was a makeup artist. You might not have heard of him, but God rest his soul. He probably died in the 80s. But I said, I like that guy's makeup. That was it. And then when I graduated, I fell into it by fluke, by assisting, and that's how that career took off. And I think my father was still waiting for me to do my master's, and then I think I gave myself a 1-year plan. But in the end, he goes, "Are you going to go about?" I said, "No, Dad, I think this is it." And he goes, "You're not even making £20 a week." And I was like, "It doesn't matter. I really love it. I'm going to do this." And it just took off from there.
That's how you can tell you're doing the right thing, when you do it for free. You know, you pay someone to do what you want to
Well,
do.
I did live at home, so
Yeah.
you know what? I say to people, there are younger people, they go, "What did you?" And I said, no, you need to have a roof over your head. You need to be able to eat. I didn't move from London to come here, so
Yeah.
I had all those. I am very lucky that I knew I had a roof over my head.
You had
I
it
was
fun,
being
yeah.
fed by my parents. If I went somewhere really far, I went, Dad, and he went, oh, bloody hell, okay, here's the money for the tube or the whatever, you know. And I had that. And then I used that. So I knew, that's it. This is what I want to do. So I'm not formally trained. Nowadays, there are lots of, well, you look at YouTube, you look at lessons and schools. Didn't exist. I think there was one place, it was either the BBC or you'd go to London College of Fashion.
That was it.
Good luck if you could get in there.
Yeah.
That was it.
If you could go back in time, what advice would you tell yourself?
Don't worry, it'll all work out.
Yeah.
And just, I was very sure about what I loved.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only thing I would say to somebody, that you need to know, do I really love this? Not because of, oh yeah, I'm going to meet some celebrities, or I'm going to make a load of money from this, or I'm going to get to travel and I'll do this and I'll be pop stars. No, there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of everything. And I knew that once I stepped into this arena, this is what I loved. Nobody had to tell me, do you love it, do you not? I loved it. Unequivocally, I loved it. So that's what I'd say to somebody, that trust yourself, and if that's what you love, you'll get somewhere.
Yeah.
You'll get somewhere.
Now, we're both mamas.
Yes.
My girls are 8. I've got twin girls. And your daughter is...
32.
I mean,
Just got married this year, actually, early in April.
and she's the sweetest, nicest, kindest woman I've ever met. She was so huggy and lovely. You've done a great job.
Thank
I want to
you.
know, as a mother, as a working mother, and I don't know if there's working mums in the audience as well, how did you balance being a makeup artist with the crazy hours and the kind of flying everywhere with being a mum?
It wasn't easy, Ateh. It wasn't easy, because I'd love to say, and I don't think it's easy for women today either.
No.
I don't think it's ever easy, and not easy for men either. We're in a very time-poor environment. We're all racing. We've got additional things that we're looking at. We don't just do our jobs now. We have to worry about social media. We have to juggle this and juggle that and all sorts of things. And in those days, my daughter was, I always had her. So I didn't really start properly until she was about 5 years old.
Okay, yeah.
So I was still an assistant. So my mum was still alive at the time. I had a lot of support from my ex-husband. I had a live-in au pair. I organised everything, which is what I think every jobbing mum does. You just juggle a few Greek plates,
You make
and
it
the one
work.
that was about to fall down, you go and put your attention there, and you juggle. That's the best way, and I think that's what we're always going to have to do, and organise yourself as best as you can.
What advice would you give to a makeup artist coming through today? Like you said, it's a very different landscape.
Totally.
Social media wasn't around, like emails. I didn't have an email until I was in my 20s. And, YouTube's, all these things. What would you tell a makeup artist today who wants to break through?
It's 3 billion times more competitive. It's really competitive right now. But in a good way. See, when we started, you either were in television, you were in film, or you were in fashion, like I happen to be. You could do assisting, or you could train up. You might know somebody, like somebody like Pat McGrath was on the door somewhere, and she started. So there's many ways of coming into something, but today, the doors are open in a different way. That before you couldn't just be, oh, I'm a bridal makeup artist.
No.
Would that have happened before in the 80s and 90s? Never. Now you can be in a little area of the UK in a certain, I'm not very good with my shires and this and that, but if you were in Oxfordshire, say, like
me,
you've
I've just moved to
and
Oxfordshire.
then you could be somebody that you could just have. You don't need an agent. You have an email address. You have a contact number. You have a few pictures you can post on Instagram, and people can check and see if they like your work, if they like you. And you can work one time a week. You can work only 3 months when it's wedding season. It can be done.
It's liberating in a funny way.
Yes, wasn't possible before. So,
and I mean, how has the industry changed? So I know we always talk about diversity, inclusivity, which has been amazing. I mean, I remember when I started out in the industry, I'd go to a makeup launch and there'd be 4 to 5 foundation shades, and everyone would be like, "It's extensive, isn't it?" I'd be like, "Not really." But how have you? For me, that's been a big thing. But what have you seen that has affected you in the change?
If I'm honest, I think in a funny way, and it's not like patting myself at the back, but when we launched Ruby and Millie in 1998, we only had 12 foundations, Ateh, and we had to fight for those. So it wasn't something that was, we didn't use words like inclusivity or diversity or things like that. These are phrases that come about, when there's a sociological whatever degree that somebody would be doing, they'll be talking about that. In the 2018 onwards, there was a bit more about that. There'd be the Me Too, there'll be this, there'll be that, but then there'll be this kind of thing. But we did that without knowing that that's what we were trying to be.
Did you do that because you felt that's what should be?
Well, how can I be the face of a brand and there's no bloody foundation that has my colour? Just, it can't work like that, can they? So I remember saying to Boots that how can that be possible? I have to have something that is a few shades darker than me, and then every month or every week we did have a battle where they'd say some of these don't sell, and I said, well, maybe they don't sell in Dublin because you've got very pale skin people, but can you give me the figures of Bradford?
Thank you.
And Birmingham and Leicester? And then when they looked at those figures, they were there. So I'm saying, like, can you swallow that overall the average is there? And I'm really sorry, I'm not going to have a name to my brand that doesn't cater to me. We didn't have the funds and we didn't have the know-how to do 42 colours. Thank you, Rihanna.
Yes.
She helped.
But what? There'd be no Fenty Beauty without Ruby and Millie. That's what I have to. There would be no Fenty without Ruby and Millie.
Well,
because you showed that it was viable and that there were people who wanted it.
It had to be commercially viable. And nowadays, it is. So the more commercially viable and the more people show you that there is money to be had in that, it'll go forward. It will go forward.
Do you ever stop learning and growing as a makeup artist? So what inspires you?
I think we never stop growing as human beings, or one shouldn't. And that's only extended to you as an artist. And I think as soon as an artist, whichever kind, whatever your trade, whatever your skills, if you think, oh, that's it then, I know it all, and I think that's it, doomsday. I think because makeup and what I do every day, the technology is expanding and changing every day, the aesthetic is changing. Look at what's available. The looks are changing. So no, I think as an artist, you have to. I keep learning every day, and you're inspired by everything out there. Your other peers, just unknown things, watching things on YouTube, just things people show you, still books you read, films you watch, people in the street, other people you admire. I love my friends, like I've got a lovely friend here, Emily, sitting there, like the way she puts her red lipstick together. Whatever it is, we learn all kinds of things from everybody. I have another colleague there, Liana, like she's the eyeliner queen, you know. Jay over there always puts an eyeliner inside her eyes, and like there's all kinds of things that we have to keep abreast of all the time.
Amazing. What is the best thing you've learnt from a makeup artist or a client? Or like you were saying, you're inspired by other people. Have you learnt something from that you thought, wow, that's amazing?
I think again,
or a celebrity, or
there's things that you learn from everybody. So even if you're doing a red carpet person, the way they particularly like how they're done, and please do this like that, and then you know what, you think, oh yeah, she's right, that works. Yeah. Or when we did Ruby and Millie, we were the face of the brand, and we had lots of PR and press shoots and all kinds of things to do. So there were two of us. So if we had to be shot together, I couldn't sit there and make Millie up and then make myself up and then be in time for this shoot. So I had the luxury of some amazing makeup artists, people like Lisa Butler, Mary Jane Frost, Kay Montano. I apologise if I can't remember everyone's names, but even Pat McGrath at those days, you know, like for depending what the publication was, I got made up by them. So you sit there and think, I must remember what she did, I must remember what she did. One is it made me look as a person, as a woman, and two is, I wonder if I could use that skill to do something on what I'm working. So I was privy to that. Yeah. So even if I say to a normal person, you don't have the access to an artist per se, go on as many counters that give you free, if you've got a Saturday afternoon and you're sitting there, go to the Bobbi Brown counter, go to the Fenty counter, go to some counter. Everyone does you differently. You'll pick up a lot of skills. Don't think it's wasted. Those people are working on normal, everyday people. They have some really good skills in their hand. Yeah. I'm not that proud. I'd pick it up. It's good. It's good.
Now, you've worn many hats in your career. You've created lots of brands. You've done consultancy. Now you've got your beautiful new capsule collection. What advice would you give to, like me, starting my brand, other people, other business owners and brand owners? What advice would you give?
When I saw that question come through, I was like, honestly, don't go there. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Because it is tough.
Yeah.
But I always feel that whoever steps into the arena, I almost make them akin to a gladiator. Yeah. So you're literally going into that arena, and you're going to have to be prepared to kill, or you're going to have to be prepared to be slayed. Someone's going to get you. So unless you have that in you, that you've got that determination, you love your product, that you're going, you believe in it, it's a passion, it's not just, I could do this, then you've got half a chance of surviving. If you really don't have that inside here and inside here, please don't step in there, because you'll get wiped. They'll wipe the floor with you.
You have to be a little bit crazy, a little bit in love, a little bit fanatical. It has to be like a fever, doesn't it?
It's not even all that. Yeah. It's just that even with great big brands out there that have a lot of money, so whether it's a Lauder brand or a Shiseido brand or a L'Oreal brand or whatever is out there, there's some people here from some brands. I remember Joanna there from Guerlain, whatever. There's some big brands out there. Even then, when they've thought it out and they've actually got the budget and you're not a startup, it's hard. Things go wrong, or things are supposed to be produced and they don't turn up, and they're doing a press launch there trying to juggle it. So don't think it doesn't happen to the big brands. It just happens to us. No, it can happen anywhere at any stage of that. So you really need everything. Be well, eat well, try to sleep. I don't sleep as much these days, but I'm trying. Keep all of that so that you're healthy, so that when the onslaught comes, you can take it.
That's really interesting. So you have to be strong, literally.
You have to be resilient. Yeah. I don't mean strong that you're going to snap.
No,
that does not mean brittle. Yeah. It means be allowed to sway. And also, sometimes it's a really shitty day. Then lay down the arms. Don't torture yourself. Give it up. Try and get some sleep. Have a drink. Have a sleep. Be with your loved ones. Whatever you need to do. Take a long bath. And then tomorrow is another day. You address it then. You don't have to sleep. No, it's okay. Tomorrow you'll be calmer. You can address that thing again.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Sometimes it's a marathon and a sprint simultaneously.
Oh my God. What are the biggest challenges you've faced? Because with me, I've had a lot of no's, it can't be done. A lot of people saying, oh, women with darker skin tones don't have the budget to have what you're, like all this ridiculous nonsense.
That's been proven wrong, hasn't it? So it's not true.
Yeah, so what challenges have you faced that you've had to just go, no, and push through?
In this context, there are two challenges. Like, say, when I was a makeup artist. Yeah. Well, sorry, I still am a makeup artist, sorry. In my early days, I did a really lovely shoot, and I'm going to answer you, but I'm just going to do it in a roundabout way. I shot for Harper's Bazaar, and it was an amazing photographer called Carrie Branovan. I don't know if you remember her. And the three girls that were chosen were all different shades of dark skin. So a very sort of mocha-coloured girl, a very dark girl, and something that was a bit more in between. And it was a jewellery ad. And I had that because it was a beautiful ad, and I had it on my card. You know, in those days, it's not on the Instagram, it's nothing. You had to go in, go see, and leave your card like a model leaves her composite card. We had to leave our card. And I didn't get a booking for months. And then I said to my agency, such a beautiful picture, what's happened? And then she rang up and she found out that they said, oh, she only does dark girls. Well, we were only working with these other models, so we didn't know whether she could do any dark girls.
Oh my
So
God.
she said, Ruby's a makeup artist. That's not all she does, but that was... So I had to straight away, on the other side of the card, I had to put another picture that was representative that, yes, I could do a fair skin.
So being put in a box.
Huh?
Being put in a box.
It is. If people don't know, they didn't ask. So the other way around is what you've just said. For commercially, it's the same thing where people say there's no money, it's been proven wrong, hasn't it? That now there is a budget. If you do it and it's available and it's done in the right way, there is a budget. And people are asking, and there's a big drum roll and there's noise to be heard. So you need to do it, so you need to be clear, like, am I going for the luxury? Am I going for mass market? It is specialist? Can I contain it so that if it is just on my website, should it be on a bricks and mortar somewhere? Think all of these things through. And now it's not just about the product. We've got that social media thing that we have to think of and work with. But it's all possible just if you keep calm or you collaborate with people. We have to help one another now. There's nobody here, and predominantly there's women here, and we have to help each other.
Yeah.
And I've said that to Ateh before, and I said, look, I have done it. I've done it back of house, I've done front of house, I've done it in a big mass market, and I'm doing it very small now because I think the market is more about that right now. But it might change in 5 years. It might change before you bring your product to market. So just be aware and ask for help, because there are lots of horrible people out there, but there are lots of good people out there that they're not psychic. If you reach out and ask, people are usually, the arrogant one wants to tell you how they know it all, and the real genuine one wants to help you. Oh, I didn't think you needed, okay, if I don't know, I know someone who can.
Yeah.
And
I think we're an industry of nurturers, the beauty girls.
Just do that.
The helpers do here.
Yes. Yes.
I was going to ask about beauty consumers, because our needs, I know my needs have changed with social media and more information. How have you felt that beauty consumers have changed since the beginning of your career to now?
Well, if I think of the actual needs, I don't think our needs have changed, because it's still a face that has 2 eyes, a nose, lips, skin, whatever. We all want to look the most attractive we can, irrespective of what our colouring or our age or whatever. We all want to make the best of ourselves. So that need hasn't changed from time immemorial, from the Egyptian times and beyond, where everyone wants to put on a nice face.
Yeah.
But the means have changed. So now, if you had no idea how to fix your face, before you'd have to just read a magazine and do that step by step. Now you can go. You're inundated almost to the point of overwhelmed by it, that you can't pick. And now I don't just have to be a makeup artist. I have to be really good at how my Instagram pages. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. Because if you don't do that, they kind of check how many likes and followings have you got? And I'm like, I can't buy them. This is it. This is what I do.
It's a different world.
It is true that the requirements for your brand or as an artist, those have changed. They've got to be paired up with all these other aspects that we all have to be just equally good at. And I'm thinking, I'm really good at putting lipstick on. Do I need to photograph it really well as well?
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is very hard. You have to, when I was growing up, you know that phrase, a jack of many trades, a master of none? It's completely the opposite now, isn't it? It's like you only do one job, really? So you have to be a master of many trades.
Of everything, yes.
Who has seen Ruby's new brush, magnetic brush?
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's very, very thoughtful. Tell me the inspiration behind it.
Well, I've done something that was mass and huge. So when we launched Ruby and Miri, when we launched, it was about 365 or 58 SKUs, something like that. Huge, vast. When I was looking at the marketplace, it's probably about 2-3 years, everyone kept saying, "You're going to do something, Ruby, you're going to do something." And I had just lost my mum in 2012, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't resilient enough, like I said, and I know myself, and I knew the industry, and I thought, step here, I'm going to get mashed up. Yeah. I'm not ready.
You had to heal, didn't you?
So when gradually, people would ask, and I said, "You know what, I feel a little itch. I do feel an itch, so I think I'm going to have to scratch this itch." And I looked at everything out there, and there were some fantastic things out there. And I thought, then we had 2016, we were going to be in Brexit, and I thought, oh my God, and there was that level of uncertainty. And I thought, this is not the era of launching another big brand like Charlotte Tilbury had done, which is all kudos to her. It was huge, it was out there, it was in the department stores, it was rah, 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 rah. I thought, I haven't got the energy to do that, and I just want something smaller. And I just thought I'd do something that actually pleased myself. Because when I did Ruby and Millie, I had a business partner, and I had a commercial partner in Boots. You had to keep them happy. This is really satisfying myself. I just wanted something that would be useful to me. I could do a shoot with it. It's good for in the desk. It's good for travel. But I can do a full face from it. And I thought, why don't we just make something that makes life easy? Like everyone is time poor. And not to say this is wipes the floor with everything, you don't need anything else. I'm saying this is as well as, not instead of.
Yeah, inclusive, and it's part of your handbag. And
that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
So, you've been in the industry for over 25 years. Tell me what's been a highlight of your career.
I think as a makeup artist, the first time you ever shoot for Vogue, I don't care whether it's got a high circulation or not, when you get that call and you're just waiting for them to take the option off, it actually got, when it's confirmed, and I shot for British Vogue, that was a good highlight. Oh. There's no feeling like it. And then I couldn't sleep all night, and I was thinking, what am I going to do? And then I had to sort of give myself a pep talk and say, Ruby, there's nothing you're going to do on a lingerie shoot for Vogue. You just have to do your stuff, and they don't kick you off. That'd be fine. So that's one, as an artist. Yeah. And the other thing would have to be when I got my MBE. Yeah, that was amazing. That really was amazing.
So well deserved. Yeah. Just to end, I'm going to ask you two things. If you can finish the sentence. Beauty is...
compassion and truth and just a bit of kindness, honestly. It gets reflected in beauty.
And to end, happiness is?
My loved ones, my family. I'm getting all tearful.
Oh.
Happiness is if my loved ones are okay, I'm okay. Yeah. If I'm all right and I'm soaring, but the people I care for, whether that's my immediate family, my friends, my colleagues, humanity out there, who looks at a disaster and goes, oh yeah, I'm happy? No, we're connected on this planet, closer to some people, nearer to us, but I'm only happy if most of the people in my life are okay.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Ruby.
you,
I just
want to. Thank you, guys.
I hope you love her as much as I do. Thank you so much, Ruby.
Thank you.
Now, we'd love to open up. If you have any questions for Ruby or myself, has anyone got any questions? Don't be shy. Lady here.
The first question when you said, sorry.
I'm going to give you a mic.
Thank you. The first question when you said your daughter's age, I thought you were your daughter's age. What?
I know.
What's going on with the beauty routine? Please, just elaborate.
Well, no, you can
Okay.
I have to say, that's very kind, thank you. I'm all flattered now. But I've always believed you must have some sort of routine. It could be little and often is much better than once in a blue moon. So I've always had something in place. And it means proper cleansing, proper skincare, trying to be careful about eating, exercising. You know, I'm a late person with exercise. I never really did it. I was always reed thin and didn't. But now I realise when I do, it does bolster up my skin, does keep it all going. I'm trying to look at you in bright light there. But some routine, and it's better than nothing. That's it. But thank you very much. Thank you. Anyone else? They're passing the mic around if anyone else has a question.
So I've got a question about boots, actually, because it sounds like...
Put your mic nearer because I'm so deaf.
Okay, no, that's fine. So it sounds like you really changed a lot of people's lives. You had all this range that resonated with people with different skin tones. How did you get into boots? Because that's like massive. How did that happen?
Oh my God. So did you say how did we get into boots?
Yeah. How
well,
that
you know,
connection?
people just think, oh, you just create the brand and it automatically just goes somewhere. It doesn't.
in boots,
Before
so I know.
that, people won't realise, but me and my ex-husband worked behind the scenes. We brought Aveda, the brand, to this country. So we launched it in Harvey Nichols and we launched it at Salon International. So they were like professional. Then there was a department store end. And from there, Boots approached us. And they kept asking about getting Aveda in there. So when you're sitting and having a conversation, we're like, no chance, mate. It's a luxury brand. You're only going to stay in your stores and then 2 years later you're going to copy it and kick us out. No. So in these conversations, which is just how it is that people have conversations, it's all about relationships. In that chat, it came about that, oh my God, there's no actual British... not even born, but British, inspired brands since Mary Quant. We had Space NK that had all these lovely like NARS and Laura Mercier and those kind of brands that came from America. Or you had the L'Oreals, or you had these other brands that had come, or you had Shiseido from Japan, but nothing that was British, ostensibly British. So the talk just... You know, it carries on. Millie she launched Uemura in this country. I was on 10 years younger, so people did have an awareness about me as a makeup artist. And then these conversations evolved, and then that's how we came to be in front of them. And then we actually took the wolves by the horns and it was a partnership. So they backed us, and then we did everything, the formulation, the packaging, the staff, the merchandising, the PR, we led everything, and they gave us the doors so that we had to get the foothold, we had to get the person through the doorstep, and they provided that, but we did all the work up until that stage. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Oh, Angeline.
I just thought it would be a nice idea if you could just show us the brushes and just explain what it's all about. Because all we know is brushes as opposed to...
Okay, so go on, Ateh. You pick up the one that's lying there. It's easier. Thank you very much. I'll speak loud. So it's just a little magnetic brush. Oh, it's a little magnetic brush. It's signature red, so it's Ruby Hammer. Anyone knows me knows I love my bit of red, handbag, pair of shoes, something. I love that. It's got a little lid, 3 different heads. I haven't labelled them, just giving you the shape of the heads. It's very dark, so you can't see them. But there's an angled brush head, which is great for doing eyebrows and eyeliner. It clicks, which is a very satisfying click. There's a smudge brush, which you can do underneath the eyes, around the eyes, and at a push, you can do your lips with it. There's a tapered little crease brush that you can do eyeshadow work, so you can actually place and buff out, and you can use it for concealer or anything, because they can work liquid, creams or powders. The lid goes on, means it's hygienic. As an artist, I'm used to the length, the 3 barrels, so I can work from a distance. But for women, real life, you know, because when we had to survey and give it to lots of people to use, when you've got the 2, it's probably nicer because you're nearer the mirror. The only thing I wouldn't suggest, and that's just as an artist, is when it's 1. I've seen people use it, and you know what? They're very happy. They've spent the money. It's yours. Once you've bought it, it's yours. Use it how you want. But this makes it a bit mingy and a bit...
That's
hard.
tube makeup.
So I find that hard. But other than that, I just think, you know, we could add heads to it. We could do whatever, but it's... The more you use it, the more you're going to find it's indispensable. So I hope you are able to. Please come and have a look and feel. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you.
Any other questions or one more question? Oh,
So, hi, I've tried the brush and I love it. What are your other handbag essentials for makeup? Because
What other handbag things? Oh, no, sorry, because I'm so hard of hearing. Like,
handbag essentials. What do you have in your handbag?
in my handbag, and I have a huge makeup bag at home that my husband goes, what is this? What is this? And I'm like, it's there. But when I do my makeup, I sit or at the table or on the floor, whatever I do, and then I take that, and I've had that for about a year in my bag now, just because I wanted to see how it gets bashed about or not. I always have a little something to do your eyebrows. So a spoolie that I even go to any of the counters and I just take one because it keeps your eyebrows up. I have some sort of blotter because I don't like putting powder on. And I do get a bit shiny. I'm of that age now. So just here, so a bit of that. I have a nail pen, weirdly enough, just with a nail oil from CND, and I do that. Just wrap around. And depending on a lipstick colour or a gloss or something, I just throw that in. That's it. So I'm very edited. I don't walk around with a huge big one. I have that big one at home, and then I just leave what I have. I bring with me. Yeah. More.
Well, continuing on the theme of a big one, so I'm lucky enough to know about this big kit because I'm lucky enough to work with Ruby quite often. So my question, I thought people might be interested, and I've always wanted to ask you, is so you have an enormous kit as a makeup artist. So when you come on a photo shoot with somebody like me, how do you, when I say to you, so I want Ateh to look beautiful and glowy, and I mean, how do you look at the model and distill all those? Because you have about 6 varieties of, 20 foundation brands. You know, how do you distill your thoughts and follow my brief and how do you decide what you're going to put on that girl, on her face, and so how do you distill all those knowledge and make her look beautiful on the day?
See, the nicest thing is nowadays, when I'm confirmed for a job, they'll usually tell you who your team is. So they'll say the photographer is this, the art director's so, the hair's this, the models are this. In the old days, we didn't know what the model looked like. You just have to, if you knew her, if she was a famous model, you knew, oh yeah, that was Giselle. Okay. But nowadays, when they send you the name of the model, you're able to just go quickly on Instagram or ask your agent, can you send me a link so that I can see what this girl looks like? So I'll have an idea. If they said, the model is Ateh, and I'll think, oh yeah, I know Ateh. Or if I didn't know Ateh from Adam, which I do, I'd think, is she dark? When I see that, then I know to make sure I've got things in my kit that would be for different shades of a dark skin or whatever. So I do that. Then in the morning, I have no preconceived notions of what I'm going to do. I still sit on the day because until then, you don't know what the team, it's a collaborative effort. So we sit and we ask, and she says, I'd like her to be very dewy skinned and blah, 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 blah. So you ask questions to see, does that just mean the skin? Does she still want a strong eye? What about lip colour? What about not? What about that? And over the years, I've got the experience to know that kind of thing would work on a woman. And some are like you do on every woman, a bit of trial and error. Oh, yeah, oh, no, that's really not agreeing. But overall, that's my 30 years experience now, that I can work out how to do a quick, dewy finish. If she said, I think, yeah, I must amp up the skincare, leave it not too matte, but then look at her in the light and keep asking that question, am I delivering the brief that Emily has asked for? And then we look at it in the light, because light changes everything. If it's powerful, it will look like she's got nothing on. Or it might be too overpowering. You fine-tune until everyone's happy with what we've got. But it's a bit of looking and then shaping up and then thinking, oh, she might need a little bit of contour, but not too much where they want to see that glowy skin still, but making Ateh happy because she thinks, I love a bit of this. So it is a collaborative thing, and your brain is ticking away on a job commercially like that. You're constantly thinking, am I keeping my client, my art director, my photographer, if it's a magazine or advertising, whatever it is, am I still delivering the brief? And you keep asking yourself until, if you don't hear anything, then you know, all right, then I've asked them, they haven't said anything, must be all right then. Thank you, Emily.
Hi, Ruby.
Hello.
I just wanted to let you know that my first ever red lipstick was a Ruby and Millie
Yay!
red lipstick.
Yay!
And everyone always asked me where it was from, and I was devastated when I could no longer buy it. But anyway, I wanted to ask you, so when I discovered red lipstick, it kind of changed everything, and Ateh said that makeup is a kind of magic and can make you feel, such an amazing way. And I wanted to ask you, when you first discovered beauty, so when you were growing up, what was the product or what was the kind of thing that you discovered that made you know that it was a passion?
Well, when I came to this country, because I wasn't allowed to wear any makeup until I was about the age of 14, but the thing I loved was I was allowed to wear a tiny bit of like a kohl pencil, just at the edge of my eyes there. And it was like an Asian thing, so it was like if it was a festival or a wedding or something like that, I was allowed a bit of kohl. And when I came to this country, there was an Arndale Centre, because we grew up in Putney, Wandsworth, and it was a label or brand called Miners. Do you remember it? So Miners, because it was in the local Arndale Centre, I think it probably was in Boots, and soft, lovely black pencil that I could just go like that, and my mum didn't tell me off, and I still felt good, so there was that. Thank you. I don't want to keep everyone, but it's nice to have you all still asking questions, but I don't want to hold anyone back.
Hi, this is a bit, well, I'm not sure if it's controversial, but the other day my husband and I were talking about like our 3 pet peeves, and I listed a lot of things like littering, yada, yada, yada. And I was really surprised, because he is married to a beauty PR, that he said his pet peeve is women doing their makeup on the tube. And I would love to know what you think. So I also was very honest and said there have been times, as a mum of 2, juggling the Greek plates you spoke about earlier, that I had actually done that myself.
Yeah.
And he categorically said to me, you could have got up earlier and done your makeup before you got on the tube. He's a nice man. So I would love to know, I guess you and Ateh, Ruby, I'd love to know what you both think on this controversial topic, please.
Go for it.
As a teenager, as a very snobby, beauty, mad teenager, I'd be like, really? Why? Exactly, why would you get up earlier? And then as soon as I had twin mothers, became a twin mum, I was like, any chance I get back of a taxi, on a tube, on a train. So I have shifted. Sometimes some of my best moments are looking at women doing their makeup. There's something quite magical and like transfixing, and how they check themselves afterwards, and you can see that little lift. So I find that quite pleasurable. When, you know, a woman starts off like this in the morning, and then she does it, and by the end of it, she's like, oh, she's ready. And I'm like, wow. And I really enjoy that. So I guess I've stopped being so judgy. And when you're less judgy, you have more fun in life, don't you? Find? Ruby, what do you think?
I think for me, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated. So even if you find it, oh my God, that's not right, it's appalling. You can't take your eyes away because you're watching like, is she really doing that? And then I think so then my professional head kicks in because I think, oh my God, if she just did it that way, or it would be just as fast and she might not be. Or sometimes I see people, they just drop it and they're doing it. And she's not actually looking. No, she's not actually looking at what she's doing. So she's just sequentially dropped it on, and every single thing there, she's just putting it on, and then that's
Does
it.
it hurt
She
you?
hasn't got that high.
Does it hurt you? Does it hurt you?
It doesn't hurt me. It's just I don't know her, so I can't just go in there because she could just tell me to F off, you know, like, hello, who the hell are you? Like, why are you telling
I'm
me
Ruby
what to
Millie,
do?
MBE, that's what you should say.
But, you know, you can't. At that stage, it's not about that. I look at her and I think she could do that a bit speedier, or I still don't know how a woman does an eyeliner like that on a moving train, and they're doing it, and you know, but there is a skill, and I'll take my hat off to it. But it is fascinating. So whether you like it or not, you can't take your eyes away.
Can I have a cheeky question that I've just thought of?
Yes, yes.
I'm going to totally fangirl you here, but when I was in school, after 6, I saw a documentary about Elle. It was like the making of Elle, and I remember seeing you on TV in Iceland with a bag.
No, that was Marie Claire.
That was Marie Claire, that was it, Marie
upset.
Claire,
Yes.
in Iceland. And I remember thinking, oh, that girl, that lady, she's like me, she's got darker skin tones.
Yeah.
I could be in the beauty industry,
Whoops.
because seeing is believing. Who was that person for you?
It was mostly models, because there wasn't, you know, look, someone like Pat McGrath hadn't hit in the normal. We knew her in the industry, but she wasn't, and she was in America and things like that. So it was, for me, it was always models. There wasn't a black or coloured makeup artist. It was models. So it was Naomi Campbell's or Beverly Peel or Beverly Johnson. It was mostly that, and gradually. It's really hard. It's really hard to think. It's really, really hard.
There's no...
And that's why, in a funny way, the more you're out there, and I didn't think people just saw you as a token or as a thing. So it's very important that I have come, however far I've come. It's good to have come because it's busted the door. And now, nobody notices you for being that, which is great, Thank you.
Is that everything? I just wanted to say thank you so much, Ruby, for
Thank
being so
you.
honest
Thank
and
you,
open.
Ateh. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for coming. Have a lovely evening. Thank you.
So I just say thank you, Soho House, and everybody out there, and it's really lovely to have you all, and it's still a full house. I love it. Thank you so much.